How to create a plain language document and ADA accessible PDF. This video will show you how to create a plain language design and an accessible PDF document. Before we get started, please note, you must have the full version of Adobe Acrobat to create an accessible PDF from Word. Also, this video uses Microsoft Word 2016 on a PC, so if you are using an earlier version of Word, or if you're working on a Mac, your interface may look a bit different. This video will teach you the basics of these three topics: plain language, ADA accessibility, and PDF cleanup. Our sample document in this demo exemplifies the latest principles of accessibility and plain language design. You may ask, why do I need to make my Word documents and PDFs ADA accessible, also called Section 508 compliant? The answer is simple. Any organization that receives money from the federal government must make their technology and electronic files accessible for people with disabilities. That includes federal, state, county, and city agencies and offices, schools, hospitals, and other organizations that receive federal funds. Nearly 1 in 5 Americans has some kind of disability, and as we rely more on the web for our information and services, the demand for accessible documents is growing. When you make your documents accessible, you are not only complying with federal laws, you are creating documents that reach a much broader audience, including, sometimes, the people who struggle most for access. But how do you make your e-files accessible? The Web Content Accessibility Guidelines 2.0, better known as WCAG 2.0, represents the current global standards for web accessibility. It was created by W3C, the international standards organization for the World Wide Web. WCAG 2.0 has 12 technical guidelines. Each guideline has testable success criteria that can produce 3 levels of results: single A, double A, and triple A, with single A being the lowest and triple A being the highest level. Not all criteria apply to what we are covering in this video today. Most government agencies aim for a double A rating. Read about these guidelines on the WCAG 2.0 website. Okay, let's get started. For those of you who are not familiar with plain language, it is text that relies on words and images that are easily understood, and is organized and formatted in ways that are inviting and intuitive for the reader. Plain language helps readers of all proficiency levels. This is especially important when your target audience may have cognitive and/or mobility disabilities. The first step in this process is to translate the original English into plain language. To do this, we pull all the text into a Word file and create a 3-column table. The original text goes in the left column, the revised plain language text goes in the middle column, and the right column is for any questions or notes for the client. As you can see in the sample, the reading grade level, RGL, and word counts in the plain language column is much easier for your audience to understand and read. Now you're ready to move on to plain language layout and design. Some things to keep in mind are: use sans serif fonts like Arial or Afont, a new highly readable Unicode font developed especially for users with visual impairments. Use bold or underline to emphasize text rather than all caps or italics. All caps and italic text are much harder to read. Clearly organize and break up text using headings, subheads, or bulleted lists. Use ample white space between paragraphs and justify the left margin, no indent, and a ragged right margin, no full justify. Avoid eye fatigue, which is caused by columns of text that are too narrow, creating too much back and forth eye movement. Avoid reverse text, white on black, which is often difficult to read and degrades in photocopying, scanning, and faxing. Leave enough space for users to answer questions in the form and options to allow the user to attach supporting information. Here is the before and after of the form. As you can see, the font choices, size, styles, and use of white space have increased the readability, usability, and accessibility of the form. You are now ready to prep your Word file for ADA accessibility. So what makes a document ADA accessible? It's simpler than you might think. Hidden accessibility markers, called tags, are used by assistive technology, like screen readers, to navigate the document and its structure. These tags are assigned by styles set up in Microsoft Word. Once you set up your plain language Word file for ADA accessibility, it'll be faster and easier to make the PDF version of that document accessible after it is exported. It is best to use the styles Word has already built in, like heading, subheading, list, and paragraph. These styles will help determine the tagging assignment and order once you export to PDF. Make sure your document headers are in the correct logical order. For example, document title heading 1 comes before heading 2, and so on. The more intuitive the reading order, the easier it will be for the reader and assistive technologies to access the information in your document. Once you've made sure all text has the proper styles applied, check that paragraph spacing has been used between paragraphs rather than hard returns using the Enter key. This prevents unnecessary tags in your PDF. Now let's add alternative text, or alt text, to the links. Only add alt text to images and text that contain important information for the user. If it's not vital, then it will need to be tagged as an artifact, so the screen reader will skip over it. For example, the icon next to the form name does not provide any added information to the user, so it will become an artifact. Link alt text needs to clearly tell the user where the link will take them online. Avoid using phrases like link to or image of in your alt text. The screen reader will let the user know if the item is a link or an image. Also, less is more when you are writing alt text. Be as concise as possible. To add alt text to links, select the link and right-click. Select Hyperlink, then Screen Tip. Another key step in making a PDF accessible is adding metadata such as title, subject, or keywords. The title will inform the user what the document is about. To add metadata, go to Properties, select the Summary tab, and insert TT-XXX Disability Accommodation Request Form as the title, and click Save. You can use Word Accessibility Checker to test its level of compliance. However, it does not accurately assess the criteria needed for PDF/UA compliance, so I recommend you do not use this as your final accessibility checker. Now let's export to PDF using the Acrobat tab. Before exporting, click on Preferences and make sure you have the Tags option checked. Create an extra copy of your PDF before you move on in case something happens and you need to start over. You are now ready to clean up your PDF and make it fully PDF/UA AA compliant. The tools you will need are Content, Order, and Tags. These are located in the left navigation panel. If any of these are not showing, go to View, Show/Hide, Navigation Panes, and select the missing icon. Remember, the prep you did in your Word document should carry over to your PDF, but it is always good to check it transferred correctly. First, let's check the metadata by going to File, Properties, and select the Description tab. You should see the title text you added in your Word file. If not, just type it in. Now click on the Additional Metadata button located in the same description window. Click Advanced in the left column, then click on Append. This opens a new window where you add the Xmp code. The Xmp code is used to identify the PDF as being PDF/UA compliant. UA stands for Universal Accessibility. This code is only an identifier. It will not make your PDF fully accessible. Next, click on the Advanced tab and check the language is set to English. If not, click the drop-down menu, select English, and click OK. This tells the screen reader the content of the document is in English. If you do not set the language for the PDFs, the pronunciation of words will be incorrect. For example, Spanish will sound more like Spanglish. Now click on the Tags icon. What you see is a list of all tagged content in the document. Tags are organized inside containers. All accessible PDFs should contain all tags inside a parent document container. Our tags are all inside a section container. You need to change this to be a document container in order to have the document tags read in the proper language. To fix this, right-click on the section container and select Properties. Then in the Object Properties window, select the Tag tab and click on the Type drop-down menu and select the correct document tag. You can also change the language in the Tag tab by selecting it from the language drop-down. You might also notice some tags, like headers H1 and H2, are missing. By default, Acrobat will not tag headers and footers. To tag missing content like the H1 and H2 text, click on the Order icon. Options, Show Reading Order panel. This opens the Reading Order window. Next, select the TT-XXX form name by click, hold, and dragging the crosshairs over the text. Then click on the Heading 1 button in the Reading Order window to properly tag it as H1. Repeat this step for all other content that is missing tags. Next, let's clean up the list tags. Lists must be comprised of 4 types of nested containers in a specific order: list, list items, label, and list body. There can be more than one list body container inside of a list item. The label container should contain only the bullet symbol, or in this case, a number. The list body contains the first list item text in the list. Another list body container will have the text that follows the checkboxes below. Now you're ready to move on to the link tags. Links should be inside a link container which contains the tagged link text and the link object tag underneath it. If it is not in this order, just drag the tags into their proper locations. Then check the alt text you added in your Word doc is still there and correct. You'll do this the same way as you did to fix incorrect tags. Right-click on the link container, select Properties, then the Tag tab. If the alt text is missing or incorrect, you can just type it in and click Close. Important note, if you don't close the window, it will not keep the alt text. Once you've cleaned up all your tags and containers in the Tags panel, you are ready to move on to the Content panel. Note, everything in the Content panel directly affects the Tags panel and vice versa. Inside the Content panel, you will see a list of containers. These should have the same label names and be in the same order as the tags. If they are not, you can easily fix this by dragging the container to the correct order. Scroll open each container to check your text isn't nested inside another container, such as a span container inside and H2 container. If it is, drag and drop it inside the parent and delete the extra container. If the container is labeled differently from the tag, right-click on the container, go to Properties, and select the Content tab. Click on the drop-down menu next to Container tag, and select the correct name in order to match the tag container it is associated with. Be cautious when making any changes in the Content panel, as things sometimes will disappear and not be able to be recovered. This is why we suggest you make a copy of your PDF before you start. Also note, anything labeled as an artifact will not be read by the screen reader. For example, images without alt text. After everything is tagged and in the correct container, you are ready to run it through Acrobat's Accessibility Full Check. Open the Tool panel on the right-hand side of your window and click on Accessibility, Full Check, Start Checking. The test report will display any errors on the left. After you have fixed any errors, save, and run the test again to make sure you have fixed all errors. It is important to note, while Acrobat's PDF Accessibility Check is better than Word, it still does not meet full ADA standards. The most accurate PDF accessibility checker is Pack3 Checker, which is free, but only available for PCs. Open Pack3 Checker and drag and drop your PDF file onto the top left corner of the window. You will see the summary report, with either a red X if it fails, or green check if it passes. As you can see in this case, the TT-XXX PDF has passed and is PDF/UA AA compliant. What you have just seen are the basics for creating a fully accessible PDF/UA AA compliant PDF. There are many other elements, such as form fields, tables, table of contents, and footnotes that may require proper tagging to pass a full check. You will also need to review the W3C standards, as they are revised periodically as tools and technology are improved. For more information on accessibility, visit transcend.net/services/web accessibility.